The next podcast in our series of Christianity DBQ screencasts, I don't know why I keep saying podcast, deals with what we might call the Christianization of Rome and how events in Rome lead to Rome becoming a Christian empire, and how Christianity becomes increasingly embedded within the political and social structure of the Roman Empire. One of the reasons that Christianity spread so easily through the Roman Empire is because the Christianity's message of salvation and a perfect life in the afterlife in heaven is very appealing to many people throughout the Roman Empire. Remember that Rome managed and ruled its empire with a mixture that included a bit of brutality, to put it mildly. So the idea that many people lived difficult lives under the heel of the Roman Empire made the Christian message very appealing. The idea of a Messiah, and also the idea of treating people with kindness and human rights. The other major aspect is that Christianity's congregational aspect. In other words, Christians would form together and worship collectively, so that when you traveled about in the Roman Empire, as many people did, when you found a group of Christians, you were going to find a group that was ready to take you in, let you be part of the community. So it was very easy to find a support network throughout the Roman Empire because of the congregational aspect of Christianity. But there's a series of events that occur that we want to focus on that really helps to cement the Christianization of Rome. The first of these is Constantine's conversion to Christianity in 312 CE. Constantine was the emperor of Rome, actually the co-emperor at the time, and we'll get into details about the co-emperor later. But Constantine, shortly before a battle, as emperors would do in Rome, shortly before a battle was look to prayer to find a sign for what to do in order to be successful in a particular battle. And as he knelt in prayer, the sign of he saw in the sky the sign of the cross, and next to the written across the cross was "in hoc signo," which is Latin for "in this sign." So what Constantine thought was that you will conquer, you will beat your enemies, you will defeat your enemies with this sign. So this became kind of a symbol of strength and power and righteousness. That the warrior that had this symbol, the warrior that fought in Christ's name, would be successful. And Constantine promised to convert to Christianity if the battle was successful, and it was, so he did. And Constantine, the emperor, becomes Christian. At the time, Rome was still more not Christian than Christian. The other Christianity was still a minority in Rome, but the fact that one of the co-emperors becomes Roman is pretty powerful. One of the co-emperors becomes, of course it was Roman, becomes Christian is a powerful statement of the spread of Christianity. Christianity was not yet the official religion in Rome, but it was certainly close to getting there. The Edict of Milan in 313 CE was issued by Constantine, and it was an edict that required religious tolerance of all religions, but among those Christianity. In other words, Christianity was the official position of Rome to tolerate and accept those who were Christian. Again, another powerful moment, especially because only 10 years earlier, the Emperor Diocletian participated in a brutal persecution of Christians. Christians began to discuss the nature of Christianity within Rome and the nature of the life of Christ in general. A philosopher named Arius proposed an idea of Arianism around 300 CE that said that God was the Father of Jesus, the Son, and therefore Jesus was inferior to God. About 25 years later, Constantine decided that on the idea that people would swear to the Nicene Creed in 325 CE. The Nicene Creed was a statement that Jesus was actually the same as God. God and Jesus were one person. One divinity, not one person, one divinity. Constantine himself actually went back and forth on this, and went back to believing in Arianism, and then back to the Nicene Creed, and back and forth. But Arianism describes the idea that Jesus and God are two separate divinities, and the Nicene Creed says they're one and the same. The reason that we even really want to think about this is focuses on the growing nature, the growing importance of Christianity, and how important it was to control the doctrine of the church. The doctrine of the church was evolving beyond simply the teachings of Jesus. Constantine also developed and named a day called Sunday, and it's the Sunday that we have now. And it was the idea that this was the Lord's Day, and this is a day where people would come together to worship Jesus. And that was in 321 CE. But at the same time, Constantine never gave up the title Pontifex Maximus, which was, this is Latin for chief priest, and in this case it means chief priest among the polytheistic priests. So Constantine was politically savvy. Though he was a Christian, he was always seeking to blend polytheism and Christianity in the Roman Empire, chiefly for acceptance, but also because of that was a reflection of belief in Rome. Throughout the 4th century, the church became more hierarchical, with more and more emphasis on the bishophood. Bishops within the church became representatives of the empire. In other words, bishops began to overtly take on governmental responsibilities in many of the Roman provinces. So what we have here in the Christianization of Rome is Constantine the emperor converts, expects and demands tolerance for Christians, a debate over the nature of Christianity, and in growing importance on an official version and orthodoxy, the idea that there is a blending of polytheism and Christianity in the Roman Empire, and that the church hierarchy continues to grow and become more established. And finally, that the church hierarchy becomes an arm of the Roman government. The R and the G in Sugar W become more and more overlapped.